Hi everyone, I'm Maria Kantek and this is my Ethics in Action case study. So we're going to be going over some background on the case. We'll be discussing the ethical dilemmas. I will analyze how my interviewee handled the situation and then analyze how I would handle it using the Potter box. We'll reflect and compare my decision with my interviewees, and I'll give you guys some important takeaways. Background, I ended up interviewing Jasmine Monet. She's the head of production for Purple Cinema. This is a international media sales distribution company for producers and media content. So her background is in film sets on Chicago, film sets and international film festivals. And the context for the ethical situation was she was a assistant camera person on set for a music video showcase. This was an album with multiple videos that tied together, and they were filming one of these. And this occurred on set with children. So what happened was this moral and ethical dilemma concerned issues with the amount of time that was on set. These kids were filming for 12 plus hours straight this day. So there were long hours. It was a school night. We're dealing with minors here. There was no official meal break this day, and she was concerned with speaking outside of her department as being an assistant camera person. So I would phrase this question in a few different ways, actually. You could say, would you continue doing your job if unethical standards were taking place on set? If you spoke up about ethical concerns in the job and were ignored, would you stay and finish? Should the reaction to your initial efforts deter you from continuing to act towards that goal? These are kind of phrased to follow after she made the decision. You'll see there's a little bit of a two-part here. So the decision that she made was she actually decided to speak up about these concerns on set, and she had other assistant camera people back her who also were concerned about the situation. She was actually ignored and then just decided to let it go because she didn't want to lose her job, so she kept quiet and finished the shoot. She was trying to excuse this behavior because it was the last shooting day and she knew, this isn't going to keep happening, but she knew the company didn't want to pay for another day to shoot. So she actually made her decision initially based on her gut feeling and the concern for the kids' well-being, her knowledge of how set practices work, what's out of the norm. But she was also then making her decision secondarily based on her concern for her job status and what power she had in her position. So applying this to Charles Pierce's writings, we can see she used authority and intuition, which is kind of funny because she used these separately because they do conflict with each other. So she started with intuition, used her gut feeling and her judgment of the situation and how it was wrong, and spoke up against authority. However, when she was silenced, she followed authority. So she followed those in charge when nothing came out of her efforts, and she relied on them to fix the issue. And analyzing this case now with my reasoning, I'm going to use the Potter box. So defining the situation, we know that I'm working as a camera assistant on a music video set with kids that have been filming for 12 plus hours with no meal break on a school night. I can tell that they're overworked and tired. I know the company doesn't want to finish tomorrow. They're trying to save time and money. So they continue to push the filming. They ignore my concerns. I'm afraid to lose my job. Values that come into play here are fair play, accountability, minimizing harm, respectfulness, advocacy, responsibility. I have some loyalties to the production company I've been hired by, the children, and my coworkers. Principles I would apply is the golden mean, finding a happy medium between just walking out of the set and doing nothing. And Kant's categorical imperative, morals that are binding to all here is child labor laws. This is illegal. So based on the Potter box, the decision I would make would be to speak up about my concerns to who was in charge, notify and inform the children's parents about the set rules because they may not even know what's happening isn't legal or acceptable. So let them know what their rights are and let them speak up as well and advocate for their children. If all this is ignored, I would then ask those on set working with me to refuse to continue filming under those conditions. Reflecting on this case, we can see that my decision is slightly different from Jasmine's. We do start the same, but I added some more options to support the success of my outcome by informing the parents and allowing another party to come in and advocate. I would also continue to combat that refusal rather than accepting and staying quiet if I was ignored. So my decision's more ethically justifiable because it aligns with the values I stated in the last slide, and that is what initiated that first action of speaking up. So instead of putting the power in the authorities' hands to create change, I will make sure I'm creating change myself and holding authority accountable if I'm ignored. This is important because I need to be able to justify my actions if the situation was questioned later by parents who, might figure out, hey, that shouldn't have happened. Why did you guys let that happen? Takeaways and things that you can learn from this is how to balance your personal values and intuition with the pressures of authority figures. So that learning that situations can also include conflicting methods of determining your ethical decisions. Also knowing that there's many alternative methods to achieving the same desired outcome. So how I'm informing the parents, but also speaking up on my own. These are two ways that we're trying to get the same conclusion. Also important to continue to follow values all the way through the process, remembering the ethical dilemma and doing versus being ethical should be kept in mind. So these are good things you can apply to this situation and learn from. Highlighting principles included are beneficence, which is others' well-being and benefit. You can see that pretty clear, straightforward with the kids. And justice, fairness, equitable treatment, making sure they're being treated just as good as the staff. Why should you guys care? Because this is a real life experience that you could encounter in your future career pursuits. So it's good to have in mind. So today we went over and identified the ethical dilemma, applied our class concepts to this situation. I discussed the interviewee's decision in relation to ethical principles. We've analyzed this case from my point of view by using the Potter box. We reflected on my decision in comparison to my interviewee's actual conclusion, discussed some takeaways on what you could learn from this and its importance. So some things to ask yourself moving forward now is how will you apply this situation to things that you might encounter? And keep in mind that it's a good idea to role play to help you prepare to act ethically in situations that you may have not otherwise been prepared for. Thanks, guys.